This final chapter, Chapter 4, contains 4 quiz questions to test your understanding of the materials covered in this module. Question 1. The U.S. economy showed sustainable growth over the past 2 years. The following 4 leading indicators will be released over the next month. The capacity utilization rate for the manufacturing sector, released by the Federal Reserve. Last month's release revealed a rate of 87%. The Core Personal Consumption Expenditure, PCE, Price Index, published by the Department of Commerce. The Non-Farm and Manufacturing Workweek, released by the Department of Labor in its Employment Situation Report, and Initial Claims, released by the Department of Labor. Markets are expected to react mostly to, and here are the following 4 permissible answers. Solution to question 1. The economy has expanded significantly, causing capacity utilization to reach 87%. At this stage, leading indicators about inflation become very important, since they may lead the Federal Reserve to increase the Fed funds rate and therefore to affect the level of interest rates in the economy. The capacity utilization rate for manufacturing is viewed as a useful indicator of inflationary pressures in the goods sector, especially when utilization rates approach 85% or so. Federal Reserve officials have identified the Core PCE Price Index as their preferred measure of underlying consumer inflation. The Non-Farm and Manufacturing Workweek release measures the average number of hours worked per week by employees in non-agricultural and manufacturing businesses. It is a leading indicator of future changes in real GDP and industrial component. Sustained increases in initial claims is an obvious signal of labor market weakness, including a rise in unemployment and incipient recession. Therefore, the most accurate answer is A. Question 2. Which of the following statements regarding the labor market is correct? 1. Employment growth usually precedes growth in business activity as companies try to meet rising demand through an immediate increase in the number of employees. 2. Higher wages support consumer spending and are therefore beneficial to the economy. 3. Changes in unit labor costs provide an indication of the degree to which firms are under pressure to increase prices in response to changes in their labor expenses. And 4. The significance of the employment data release stems from the fact that it is published earlier than other indicators, giving a leading view of the situation in the economy. Here are the 4 permissible answers. Solution to question 2. Employment growth is cyclical and usually precedes growth in business activity. In the first stage of a recovery, businesses try to meet rising demand with their existing payroll, usually through an increase in productivity and overtime. While in the first stage of a downturn, businesses typically wait to see how sustained the downturn is before initiating the costly process of firing workers. Therefore, statement 1 is false. Higher wages support consumer spending, but unless they are accompanied by sufficient productivity growth, are likely to lead to renewed inflation, which may not be beneficial to the economy. Therefore, statement 2 is also false. Unit labor costs equal compensation per hour divided by productivity, and changes in unit labor costs usually indicate the degree to which firms are under pressure to increase prices in response to changes in their labor expenses. Therefore, statement 3 is true. Statement 4, finally, is also true as discussed in detail in Chapter 1. Therefore, the correct answer is C, as in Charles. Question 3. The Federal Reserve intervenes in the market through which of the following tools? 1. Open market operations, purchasing and selling corporate bonds. 2. Increasing or decreasing reserve requirements of depository institutions. 3. Changing the exchange rate of the US dollar against foreign currencies. 4. Changing the discount rate. Here are the 4 permissible answers. Solution to question 3. The Fed can manipulate the supply of non-borrowed bank reserves via open market operations, i.e. by purchasing and selling treasuries and federal agency securities, but not corporate bonds. Therefore, statement 1 is false. District banks in the Federal Reserve System set the discount rate they charge on loans extended to depository institutions in their district to meet short-term liquidity needs. Changing the discount rate is an important tool to control liquidity in the banking system. Therefore, statement 2 is true. The dollar exchange rate is determined by the market with no direct intervention from the Fed. Therefore, statement 3 is false. Finally, reserve requirements are also used by the Fed to influence bank lending activity, since an increase in these requirements effectively increases the marginal cost of granting a loan. Therefore, statement 4 is true, and therefore the correct answer is C, as in Charlie. Our final question, question 4. The last FOMC minutes revealed the committee's continuing concerns about the economic outlook, following weak earnings reports from banks, manufacturers, and industrial companies. The employment report is expected today. If the report shows weaker than expected results, what impact would you expect on Treasury yields and the equity market? Here are the 4 permissible answers. Solution to question 4. If the employment report shows weaker than expected results, the market will expect the FOMC to reduce the Fed funds rate, since the previous statement clearly expressed concerns about the economic outlook. Therefore, Treasury yields will fall promptly, with the magnitude of the fall depending on how much weaker than expected the employment report turns out to be. The stock market will also react negatively if the report shows weaker than expected results, since this will imply a clear slowdown in the economy, which will have a negative impact on future earnings. Therefore, the correct answer is C, as in Charles. This completes the quiz, as well as this part 2, and brings us to the end of this module on trading and macroeconomic indicators.